its own culture, art, music. Isn't it exciting to experience multicultures across the globe at one single place? Definitely yes, right? At San Diego, Balboa Park, House of Pacific Relations, founded in 1935, has brought this multicultural program. And in the last 85 years of journey, there are 33 countries representing. We have Italy, Denmark, Spain, and many other countries. India. In House of India is started in 2005, but we didn't have our own cottage to present. 15 years of persistent effort, we are going to have our own cottage for India. House of India bought it. So let's go meet House of India team and know about their journey. Now we have Mr. Salim Shah over here, who is the Vice President of House of India and in charge of fundraising for House of India. Salim ji, how did you get funds for this event? Like, it's not so easy.
Well, the city wanted good faith deposits of 250,000 before they would look at even our plans for the event. And so each community that has the cottages being built had to show that money in the bank. Well, then they consented for 219. And so we raised the first $250,000 thanks to Chitra, thanks to other what I call rainmakers who brought in their friends, and I would just tease them, please match me. so we got some in any activity it's a 80-20 rule. So we got some major donors, and we got, believe it or not, more than 50 donors who gave 5,000 each.
Wow.
So that's how we made that to 250 immediately. And then cost kept rising. We wanted a basement which cost 100,000. So then now it's costing 500 for the building, and we're going to spend another 150 for the interior.
And operational cost is also included, right?
Operation cost is not that expensive. We have several events a year in the park, and the biggest event is what you call December nights, and it's like a Christmas fair, mela, big mela, and every corner of this park is filled with food booths and gift shops. And we have our House of India food stall, which generates money. And we have also this place, there used to be the Spirits Garden. So in the Spirits Garden, about 20 countries, 20 communities offer their popular spirits. So Ireland offers Guinness beer, Scotland offers Scottish whiskey, and Germans offer hot wine, Hungarians offer hot wine. So everybody.
So what is for India?
We came up with, the largest selling rum in the world is Old Monk rum. And so and the beautiful bottle with the monk's head on it. Yeah. So just the bottle, and we said rum chai latte, $5. A shot of rum, $4. So it became the signature drink of the park, and every year we get lots of people lining up to have the rum chai latte, whiskey chai lattes, and that's very successful.
That's wonderful.
So we raise about $8,000 to $10,000 a year through the activities in the park, and once the cottage is open, then people come in and they try the snacks and chai, and everybody donates $2, $5, that kind of stuff. So, but there weren't many problem maintaining the thing. The city charges only $1 a year lease for the whole, all the cottages, not just ours. So we don't have any, and then the electricity bill shouldn't be more than $150, $200 a month. It's a very small cottage.
It's definitely a milestone achievement for every Indian to celebrate in the United States, having our own address in Balboa Park, such a big park. So how do you feel about it, Mrs. Chitra?
I feel really proud of it too, because I think we are the first ones in the whole the nation of United States that we have our first House of India. So, and I feel very, very proud of that we are going to achieve this, and the people should cooperate more and it'll be wonderful.
Excellent, wonderful.
Leave something like a legacy behind for our children and grandchildren.
Enduring legacy for generations to come.
Right. I wanted to say that the park itself is a legacy from the Panama Canal construction, and that's why it's called this Pan American Plaza. And so when that was completed in 1915, we beat San Francisco by a few months, and this was the most popular attraction in the country. And people would come from the East Coast. There are no planes to enjoy that. And since then, the Organ Pavilion, that has been there in existence, still operating, more than 110 years. And in 1938, these cottages were built for the international exposition. And so after the exposition was over, the city decided to give it to the communities that lived here. And that is the first peace organization in the world, House of Pacific Relations, not Pacific Ocean, Pacific Relations. And that was the first, before United Nations. And you have Germany and United States right next to each other. And you have Israel and Palestine next to each other. And everybody coexists peacefully in this city. 33 communities are members.
Excellent. To celebrate this great occasion, we have Consul General of India, Mr. Sanjay Panda over here. Sir, few words about this occasion, about this achievement.
Oh, in fact, I am quite honored and privileged to be here because House of India, this project, I have been following it since I came about a year ago. There's an incredible project in a city like Seattle, the diversity of India, and this diverse city, this is a befitting place to have the House of India. And something which not only represents the diversity of India, but also the diversity of our culture, tradition, and history. India is a country with 5,000 years of civilization. So that depicting it here, I really feel that is extremely important. And hats off to the community for putting this together. And I wanted to assure of our total support, cooperation of this wonderful project.
Thank you, sir.
I think it is a long time in the coming. This is 10 years too late, but I'm so glad it's happening right now. We really need to be showing a very strong presence of the Indian culture and the Indian ecosystem and the impact Indians have made in the broader American community. So I'm really excited about this.
Thank you, sir.
House of India is so fortunate to be part of the HBR family. To conclude, on behalf of the House of India, I want to thank the guests of honor and members of the community present here today for their support. Our first check came in 2006 from Chandu Bakshi and Sunita Bakshi. We had launched the project in 2000. 2005, at that point, we did not even know if we were getting the land. But they had this conviction, they had the confidence that we are going to build a cottage. And along came many, many, many donors who generously opened up their wallets and have contributed to where we are today. We have raised $450,000 so far. We are short of $200,000 to complete equip and the interiors. We are in this last leg of the relay, and everyone knows the last leg of the relay. Everything hinges on the last leg. So we are appealing to the community today to carry us through that last leg. Help us finish this race tonight. And this will really make it a big deal for the House of Board members who have worked 19 years to see this project become a reality. So we can swipe credit cards, we can accept checks. And on your tables there are this House of India logo placards. When you're ready, I mean, every dollar counts, please. Whatever, is something that you can afford. Please raise the placard if you're ready with the pledge card or the donation, and our queens there, our board members will discreetly come to you and collect those cards. And at this point, I want to bring on stage my warriors of peace, I call them, the board members. Could we all have all the board members on the stage, please? Okay, Salinji needs no more introduction. He's been a rocker anchor. Ajay Kumar, Anu Rajshekhar, Romila Notani, Robinson Devdasan, Sneh Bansal, Vijay Navani, Nanda Mehta, Rekha Chabra, Rohini Agarwal. And we are so proud of our queens and princesses. They are the cultural ambassadors who so proudly represent us at all the functions in San Diego. And there we have Richa Upadhyay, come on guys, come up here. Riya Agarwal, Riya Chabra, Sophie Munir. Thank you. So, that's what please feel. Thank you so much for your attention. And now I'm going to ask our distinguished guest of honor to come onto the stage. And we also want to recognize Deepa Prahalad, please. She is the lead for interior design team. And Ashwini Khanna ji kahan pe hai? Ashwini Khanna is our design consultant for the project. So we're going to invite all the distinguished guests of honor to come and take us a place on the stage.
Okay, he's flown in specially from San Francisco to be with us this evening. We're extremely appreciative of his making the time for this project. Sir Panda has a very interesting background himself. He actually had a stint in the private sector before entering the diplomatic service, and he has a very wide-ranging experience. He's from the state of Odisha. Has really talked about the value of entrepreneurship, and many of the other diplomatic missions he's taken are very in the Seychelles and many other countries, and he's the perfect person to lead us off on really how the culture of India can interact in a very productive manner throughout the world. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to Ambassador Sanjay Panda.
Thank you, Deepa, for the generous introduction. Good evening, friends. I'm really honored and privileged to be here. In fact, I love coming to San Diego. When Rajesh was mentioning that people didn't realize what India was, I was actually quite taken aback, because I feel that if any city in the United States represents India,
in its full form, it is actually San Diego. This is not only the best place to live in, but it's a cosmopolitan city, and the diversity of the city is something which actually reminds me of India. And if you see the Indian culture, Indian music, Indian dance, if it is thriving anywhere in the United States, I would definitely mention San Diego. Exactly, it's been 1 year. My first visit to San Diego was last February when Professor Madhavan was there to greet me and introduce me to the community. And then with my interaction, I got to know that probably you may have a high-profile Indian community in the Bay Area, but here what you call the creme de la creme is here. In fact, then I returned to a beautiful festival of Indian music and dance here. Sekhar Vishwanathan had organized it and invited me. Then I realized that this is the city where you have somebody like Pandit Ravi Shankar who has come here, and this year is his birth centenary, so it's a very important year. And every year the kind of festival that you have here, that really shows that Indian culture really thrives in this city. And it is befitting that the House of India is coming up here. I must compliment Rajeshri and your entire team for really working so hard to make this possible. When I was introduced to the project, I could see that the amount of passion with which the entire team has worked, the community has worked. And that's why I always feel that, when we come and go, but the true ambassadors of India, I see within this community. You're going to have the House of Culture, House of India, and that among the many countries, what you have to remember is you are representing a 5,000-year-old civilization. You are representing here, the House will be representing a country which has the kind of diversity perhaps no other country has. And this is going to be a major example for our, not only for the children of Indian origin, but others as well, to get introduced to India and what India is all about. I compliment you once again for bringing India to San Diego in physical form, although India was very much there in San Diego. And I'm sure there's so much of funds that's been generated, and the balance will, of course, be very easy to meet. In fact, the government of India was not even aware of this project until I sounded it out to Delhi. And now there's a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of query, and in fact my effort would be to try and bring certain artifacts from India if it is possible. I said I will try, that's my effort. So the clapping can wait until this really comes. Because many, still I'm part of the bureaucracy, but still I have to tackle with bureaucracy back home. So, friends, I congratulate everyone for making this possible, and I wanted to assure a full cooperation and support. And with these words, I wish you, Rajeshri ji, and everybody, the beautiful community here, all the very best with the project.
Thank you so much for your warm words, Ambassador Panda. We're so honored to have you here today, and we are so appreciative of your making the trip to be part of this effort. Good evening, everybody. I'm so excited to have this panel here of distinguished guests with me, who have all achieved so much and I think represent the best of India in a few different ways. All of them have achieved at such a high level and are such warm, approachable, and community-minded individuals. I know that all of you may not have had a chance to delve into their backgrounds. I have a little bit of introduction of them at the front, so I'm going to just briefly introduce, as I think all of us really need to understand kind of the depth of achievement we have here on this stage. We have Shikha Uberio, who was actually from a family of 5, very pioneering family and siblings as well, who decided to make their mark in women's tennis. And she has won a silver medal for India in the Asian Games and trained in Florida. And has now transitioned to social entrepreneurship. For many of us in San Diego, and probably for a lot of people at UCSD, Chancellor Pradeep Khosla is a world-renowned engineer. He has spent most of his career at Carnegie Mellon before he made the move to San Diego. And I also have here Dr. Ramachandran, who is a world-class neuroscientist. His work is lauded everywhere. If you really look at lists of people think the Indians who might win the Nobel Prize, his name comes up quite often. So I think it really speaks to all of their generosity to be here to celebrate this momentous occasion, from the community creating a cultural ethos to cementing that into a legacy that will last beyond all of us for future generations. I think this is an important step for all of us as we go forward. And I would just like to start by getting the perspectives, because all of the people on the stage today are truly pioneers in their various chosen fields. And all of us are from different parts of India as well. And we always talk about the diversity. So I'd like to just quickly have a few thoughts from each of you of what is it about the subcontinent, about your heritage, that has inspired you in your professional and personal endeavors? Whoever would like to start.
Ladies first. Thank you. Thank you very much, Deepa, for the very warm welcome. And if I can extend that to everybody in the room, my husband and I recently shifted here from Bombay via New Jersey, and thank you so much for welcoming us here. It's so nice to be back in the arms of the Desi community. So thank you for the warm welcome to San Diego. So the question was, what part of our heritage has guided me or has been something that I identify with the most? And I have to say it's our dharma, our philosophy, if you will, and the notion that we are all one, that we are unified, and in this, because of our diversity, we are unified in that. And for me, I think being a competitive professional athlete, that grounding of knowing where I've come from and how powerful my traditions are gave me an edge. It gave me an edge because I think I needed that edge. Usually, Indian American girls are not playing professional tennis. They usually have their noses in their books, watch a lot of Bollywood films, aspire in that direction more so than in the competitive fierceness, if you will, that is required to play top 100 tennis. And I think because of having that understanding of knowing the oneness we're all a part of, that gave me a special power, if you will. That combined with our rich heritage, the ambassador was just referring to, everything that we do, from what we eat, to what we say when we wake up in the morning, to how we respect our parents, to the clothes we wear, to how we carry ourselves, that culture tied in with our philosophy, I like to believe that I'm pursuing the embodiment of the best that can be, both in India and the United States of America.
So that's exactly what I was going to say. But I have to tell you, being brought up in Bombay and then coming to the US, the thing that personally I picked up was being brought up on the streets of Bombay is not easy. It's actually, not that I had a bad life, please don't get me wrong. I was from an educated middle class family, so I had a good life, but still the streets of Bombay are the streets of Bombay. I think from there, coming to the US, and coming to the US in 1982, where nobody like me was the chancellor of any university in the country, this whole notion of jugaad was really in my mind. The idea of getting the job done, solving the problem, and that I think is so Indian. That is part of our culture, and that is what really gets me motivated of looking at an issue, getting it done economically, and getting it done fast. And that's what motivates me, so.
Let me repeat the thank you, and thank you to Rajshri, who's been wonderful in organizing this event. Almost 15 years ago, she had this vision of creating this very event that you all participating in. So she deserves our thanks. And also Sundar and Madhavan and Shikha, Vishwanathan, all of these people who kept our culture alive and vibrant all these years for me and for all of you. Now going on to my own situation, my career was in medicine. In Chennai, Madras, where I studied medicine. People often ask me, did it make a difference that you studied medicine in India versus the United States? And there are some differences. For example, I think in India, you have to be primitive, very resourceful. At the time when we were students, there were no MR scans, we have patient symptoms, you have to be very resourceful, ingenious. It forces you to be, even if you're not by nature, by temperament ingenious, it forces you to be ingenious. To that extent, I think it helped me in my career. Also, I want to say that there's sort of tremendous resurgence of interest in humanities, which is very refreshing. Because for the longest time, humanities were not represented even in Indian universities and colleges. People who did not get into medicine or engineering ended up in arts, right? This is the way they were looked at, and that's changing. Humanities are very important because, well, I can just give you two quotes to emphasize this. One comes from Benjamin Disraeli, the English Prime Minister and man of letters and novelist and great guy. He was in a party, and this lady comes up to him and he says, all this poetry and literature is fine and dandy. What are you doing to defend our civilization from the ravages of war? And Disraeli says, Madam, I am the civilization you're trying to defend. Another similar event, where the author very arrogantly tells this literature humanities student, I save lives, you write poetry and novels and all that. This is appropriate. And the Disraeli says, I make lives worth saving.